This is a test of the
pouring in on the Wolfpack. I'm not sure I agree with that. I lean to Lipscomb in this game. I think they're going to be very motivated. They get a trip to New York City with a win here, and this is a school that felt they got snubbed by the NCAA.
They're definitely playing with a chip on their shoulder, that's for sure, Dave. They've won 6 of their last 7 games straight up. And over those last 6 games, they've shot over 50% in 4 of them. In the 2 that they didn't, they shot 48 and 49%. So offensively, they've been getting the job done. It's a shame, 3rd straight road game to try to get to New York.
3rd straight home game for NC State.
Yeah,
too.
The flip side of that. But you know what? I got a little angle for you here.
Oh, okay.
And you like ones that are league-wide.
I don't like
not
team-specific because I think they're very random. I think a lot of generic systems, if you can back it up with some kind of a rationale, it might be something you can use.
I like the team ones I like if it's in season. It's this season or last season because then it is still pretty much the makeup of the team. But this one's a league one, and that is play on a road team, and that's obviously Lipscomb tonight. Often upset win of 15 points or more as an underdog during the month of March.
Huh.
57-22 against the spread with that angle, and that says to go ahead and take the dog tonight.
So
I agree.
That sounds like it must go back a lot of years, too, because 79 plays in a specific angle like that in March where there's not a lot of games. I would think that's got to go back into the 1990s.
1996, if you want to be exact.
Good guess.
Good guess. That's as far as back as the database that I use goes. So I'm with the dog on that one, Dave.
How about Colorado and Texas with 2 of the bigger name power conference teams still alive in the NIT? The Buffaloes, as has been their, more often than not, they've been a good home team and a very questionable road team. And in this tournament, they've gotten the job done at home. Now they have to go on the road to Texas. The Shaka Smart getting fired buzz has quieted down. I think he's going to be back for at least one more year. The Longhorns, they've played okay in this tournament. What happens tonight?
Well, you look at this Colorado team, and they're playing their best basketball of the season right now, Dave. They've won 7 out of 8, and the only loss come to the conference champion, Washington, by 5 points. They're 6-2 against the spread during that 8-game stretch. But what's been getting it done for them, and at this time of the year, I love to back a good defensive team. And right now, they're playing as good as anybody defensively. They've held 6 of their last 8 opponents to 39% or less shooting. I'm going to go ahead and look at Colorado here. Current form is all Colorado, but Texas has the advantage as far as the scheduling goes, and that's the thing when you do these smaller conferences, the NIT and the CIT, CBI, all over the different names. You've got that home edge whenever they don't have the travel, and that is where you're at with Colorado. But I do lean to Colorado.
We talked about this a little bit with the Joe's Angle of the Day. Let's expand on the Lakers and Jazz and why we talk about the Lakers, because they still get action at the windows, either for or against, because they're the Lakers. This is still very much a Lakers town as far as the NBA is concerned. So I would think, especially off a couple wins and now going into Utah, I would have a feeling that you're going to see at least some decent betting volume on this game tonight.
Yeah, it's a bad spot scheduling-wise for the Lakers, Dave. They're playing back-to-back nights, and it's their 3rd game in 4 nights. The Lakers, after losing 10 out of 11, have won 2 in a row, as we said. But, again, that 2-game winning streak was Washington and Sacramento. Sacramento can't get out of their own way.
No, they faded, and Washington just
2 weeks
stinks.
ago, they were battling for the final playoff spot. Now they're completely out of it.
Yeah.
Washington, they have not been that good as well. Utah, 7-1, both straight up and against the spread the last 8 games. But, boy, are you paying a premium for them tonight. Have you ever thought you would see the Utah Jazz a 15-point home favorite?
No, I don't. And I don't think there's any way I can even consider that.
No, but I
don't want the Lakers.
Exactly. So it's a pass for me. And the thing with Utah, Dave, they currently have the 6th seed. They're 2 games out of getting to the 4th seed. But they're only a game and a half ahead of being the 8th seed, which we all know you want to try to avoid Golden State.
Assuming Golden State wins gets the 1 seed, because Denver's still bad. I think Denver's going to get knocked out early in the playoffs because I don't think they're that good. But Denver's still trying to get that 1 seed for the regular season.
They are. They're neck and neck going down the wire. So, and that leaves the teams jockeying for 7 and 8. They don't know which one they want to be. Do they want to be 7 or do they want to be? Because they don't want Golden State in the first round. You know what you do? You just
go out and try and win the games. And that's why I think and I've said this before, I think the media and fans pay way more attention to seeding than the players and their coaches actually do. I just think a good example of that is the Knights, which we're going to talk about in the marquee matchup. But if the seeding was that important to them, to me, they would not have been resting Fleury as much as they have recently because they're still within range of San Jose. I don't know how much it means to them to move up in the division.
Losing the Detroit game on Saturday really hurt them catching San Jose.
Well, and then they lost again to St. Louis.
The Detroit game is one you can't.
They didn't lose any ground. They just lost the game because San Jose couldn't. They can't beat anybody right now. They've been terrible. We'll talk more about that game in the marquee matchup. But before we do that, let's look at the Dallas Stars and Calgary Flames. And the Dallas Stars have played well recently, and there is no question about the reason why. It's Ben Bishop. He has been superb in goal for the Stars. He is playing as well as anybody in the National Hockey League right now. Makes it tough to bet against the Stars. They're just about locked into the wild card now, but you don't want to leave anything to chance. I wouldn't be surprised if they go in and get Calgary a game tonight. I didn't play this game, but I'm leaning at least to the Dallas side.
They're a big number. You're getting a team that's playing well is getting a sizable dog. Calgary minus 155 in this one.
Plus, they're off a loss, and a bad loss, too, against a team that they are probably embarrassed to lose to.
They've been getting outstanding goaltending, Calgary has. In their last 6 games, Dave, they've allowed 2 goals or less in 5 of the 6 games. In the one game that they didn't, it was only 3 goals, and it was that 3-0 shutout.
And you see what we're seeing with some of these NHL teams that have already clinched their playoff spots is they're starting to kind of gear their hockey toward what they need to do in the playoffs. Flames have played wide open all season. That style of play in the playoffs in the NHL doesn't generally work. So I think, and I really think we're seeing it with them, is let's start playing playoff-style hockey right now because that's what we're going to have to do in another couple of weeks.
And hence you're seeing a 5.5 on the number. Instead, we've been seeing a lot of 6s and 6.5s lately. This is one of the lower ones. For me, I have no strong opinion on it. I think Calgary bounces back, but I don't like them at that number of 155.
That's about where I ended up. I kind of lean to Dallas, but
You want a little more. I want a little less on Calgary. And it would have been a play. That's where we're at.
And that's the beauty of this is, look, if you don't get your price, just don't play it. Lots of other games, or you just pass on a particular night. I didn't pass tonight. I have a play on the Golden Knights at Avalanche. We'll talk about that next in our Wager Talk Marquee matchup.
The Las Vegas Sportsline.
Dave Kochel and John Lyons from Lyons Physical Therapy. So give me a rundown on maybe a typical treatment at LPT.
Sure, Dave. On an initial consult, we'll sit down with the patient for at least 10 or 15 minutes, get a history of their injury or their condition. Then we'll move into an assessment where we put our hands on the patient, take them through a few special tests to identify what the pain source is and what the actual injury is. Then we'll use some modalities like heat and electric stimulation to reduce their pain and muscle spasms. And typically our physical therapist or assistant will do some type of manual stretching, massage therapy, or range of motion on that patient. And after the initial visit, we typically see patients 2 to 3 times a week for 4 to 6 weeks.
LionsPTLV.com, 702-476-0222.
What's hot today? It's time for the Wager Talk Marquee Matchup of the Night with Marco D'Angelo. WagerTalk.com. Start winning now.
All right, we promised you a conversation about tonight's matchup in Denver between the Golden Knights and the Colorado Avalanche. It's a somewhat important game, although maybe not as important as some people think. For the Golden Knights, for Colorado, it's important as well as they're trying to get that last wild card spot in the Western Conference. But they've got the big game with Arizona, because Arizona's the team that's tied with them right now. That's coming up on Friday. Grubauer in nets for Colorado tonight. He's their backup. Of course, it's still a backup situation for the Golden Knights, with Fleury still recovering from whatever this injury is that he has. Both teams a little short-handed. Golden Knights are a little dinged up. Colorado missing 2 of their 3 best offensive guys. Knights about 120, 125 on the road. It was 120 at Caesars, as we heard from Jeff Davis earlier in the show. I like the Golden Knights at the price. I think that I'm not looking at this in terms of catching San Jose or anything else. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of you lost 2 in a row. The last thing you want to do is start slumping at the end of the season to me. I think it's important for the Golden Knights to go out and play a good, sound hockey game tonight. And if they do that, I think they've got an excellent chance to win at Colorado.
I don't disagree with you, Dave, with the Knights getting the win. I'm actually looking at the total in this one, and I'm looking at the 5.5, and you talked about it. Teams are gearing more towards the playoff style of hockey and the way things are going. And with the offensive players that are not in the lineup for both teams tonight, that's going to make scoring that much tougher. And you talked about the backup goalie for Colorado.
I'm not a big Grubauer guy.
But I'll tell you what, Dave, he's
been playing well lately.
His last 7 starts, 5-1-1.
Yeah.
He's got a goal against of 1.14 over that, and he's got a 96.5 save percentage over that 7-game stretch. So he's playing well at the right time for them. I think it's one of these ones where we're going to get a good effort from both teams. I like the under 5.5, and I agree with you with the Knights if I play the game. And I just wish, with the Fleury situation for Gallant, wish he would just say we're resting him.
I think he's a great coach, but I also think Bill Belichick's a great coach, and I think they've got something in common, which is that, and this is fine with me. They keep that stuff in the clubhouse, and they don't figure it's all right to know. And you know what? I agree with them. If I were a coach, I would probably be doing the same thing. I'm going to tell you as little as possible.
But for the fan base, they're causing so much anxiety right now because nothing against Subban. We've got no shot without Fleury, in the playoffs. We need a healthy Fleury. Just tell us we're resting him. We'll bring him back, start him the next to last game of the season or the last game. Get the cobwebs shook off. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I want to see him in the nets in one of the last 2 games. Okay,
absolutely.
Until that time, I can live with it. I have one play at Wager Talk, and this was it. So there's no point in buying anything from me today unless you want to rehash, and probably not as. I took the Golden Knights tonight. That's the only play. I'll post some basketball later on.
Well, you know what? Then that's a good reason for them. They could pick up my play tonight. Then I do have a play up. It's a college basketball play, not one that we talked about on the show.
Well, there's only one other, so it must be the matchup in the whatever the other little tournament is.
Yeah,
the Coastal Carolina
DePaul matchup.
DePaul matchup.
Yep,
yeah,
that's the one I'm in, and we're on a 9-3 run, Dave. The last 12 plays, so go ahead and check that out.
Tomorrow there will be the Las Vegas Sportsline, and the reason for that is the official press conference to announce the new hire at UNLV is at 2:00. And, of course, we're going to be carrying it right here on the Sports Leader. We're the home of UNLV basketball in Las Vegas. So we were offered the opportunity to come on at a different time yesterday. And you know what? I want to hear the press conference as well.
There you go.
I am interested to, I'm not sold on the hire from an excitement standpoint, but I want to hear how excited the coach sounds. Maybe that'll tell me something about, I want to be wrong on this. I really do. I'm still a UNLV fan, and I'd like to be wrong on this. So we're going to have the press conference live. And we will be back on Friday, though. And Jason Simbal will be with us from CG Sportsbooks. We'll go behind the counter like we always do with Jason. That should be a lot of fun. And we've gotten great information from him over this past year as far as what's being bet, where the sharp money is, what's square, ticket percentages, stuff like that. Make sure and listen to Friday because we'll have the second half of the Sweet 16 round on Friday. And we'll also, by that time, we'll know who's playing on Saturday.
And have numbers up.
We'll have the Elite Eight matchups to break down as well. So that's going to be good stuff on Friday. You, meanwhile, have fun on your trip to sunny Florida.
You should have taken Friday off, too, and then you just came with us.
No, I would enjoy that, but I really do want to watch the basketball this weekend, and there's something else that's of even more importance to me. And you know what that is? Because I'm just a junkie as far as baseball's concerned.
Oh, baseball starts on Thursday.
I'm going to watch so much baseball over the next 2 days. I'm going to be completely immersed in it. And not for any reason. I don't want anybody, I'm not going to mislead anybody. I've got to do this for my handicapping. That would be a lot of crap, okay? It would. Because you don't have to watch games in baseball. You can just. But I love watching the games.
You do. I can attest that. I've seen you
I
in
watch
action.
Exhibition games. I get pissed off when MLB Network blacks out exhibition games, and they black out the reruns of them. Why would you black out tape-delayed exhibition baseball? I've never understood that, but I'm not in charge. Okay, let's go to our LPT Lions Physical Therapy Play of the Day.
It's the LPT Play of the Day. Tonight's best bet from Lions Physical Therapy. Your 5-star rated specialists.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Golden Knights. Because we only have 2 plays between us. You've got the one in basketball, and the other one's the Golden Knights. So guess what? It's the Golden Knights for our play of the day. -120.